Alright, money mistakes I've made in my business. There's a lot. Hey everyone, my name is Sylvia and I'm a social media manager and online educator from Portugal. In today's video, we're going to be talking about money mistakes. Some of the mistakes that I've made in my business that I now regret and that I want to help you guys avoid them if possible. A little bit of a backstory. I started freelancing about 8 years ago, and in the beginning I was doing it alongside my studies and only started taking it quote-unquote seriously and full-time after college, and only started really scaling it into a full-blown business or agency model, if you will, in the last 1 to 2 years. So that's a little bit of a backstory. Now let's get on with the actual mistakes. So the first mistake is starting and staying too small. I'm all for starting small, especially if you're starting on Upwork. You definitely want to build that profile. You want to get some reviews under your belt and some portfolio pieces that you can then show higher paying clients that you're trustworthy. So I'm all for starting lower than you want and getting those first 1 or 2 or 3 test projects almost, so you can build that credibility on a platform and even outside Upwork. But don't do as I did. I started at $5 an hour, which I think for most people is even too low, even for a first job. For some, it may be good for a first job or first 2 jobs, but don't do it for longer than a month. I recommend also these beta clients. You're essentially taking on beta clients at a lower price. I recommend you're open with them and that you let them know, hey, I'm just starting out, and so this is a discounted rate, so they don't go ahead and think that's a normal rate. So you let them know, hey, this is a discounted rate because I'm new to what I'm doing, so you're essentially getting a discount for maybe a not so great job. Hopefully you still give it your best and the client is happy with the results. You should be upfront and honest with them and let them know, hey, you're getting a discount in return for a testimonial and for me to be able to use this in my portfolio and maybe even ask you some market research questions. So you should be as open as possible with these clients. It's okay if you start at $5 an hour. Like I said, don't stay there for longer than a month. Definitely not. I stayed there for a couple of years. Now that I'm looking back, I definitely regret that. So that's money mistake number 1 that you should avoid at all costs. Now, money mistake number 2 is not investing earlier. I am talking investing in learning, but also in tools and team members. I was definitely afraid of investing. I was like, what if next month I don't make the same amount? What if I invest and I regret it? What if I essentially am wasting money in something that I don't need? And obviously you want to be careful with the things that you invest your money in, especially in the beginning, since you won't have as much coming in from your new side gig or your new freelance business or whatever you want to call it. But sometimes investing in the right tools and in the right people and in the right courses will pay off really greatly in the long run. Some of the things I've invested in and that have really paid off was Canva Pro. I dragged it on for way too long. I went with the free version for forever, but it's definitely made my life so much easier to have it. With a pro version, it makes it so much smoother and saves me so much time, and time is money. Also investing in a team. I love working with my team and I wouldn't trade it for the world. So investing in people that can help you with the things that you either don't have time for or don't have the expertise in will pay off in the long run, trust me. Investing in learning, I mean, I was all for watching YouTube videos and learning from Instagram posts and whatnot. And that's great, don't get me wrong. I hope you're learning something from my videos and hopefully you're learning something from this one. But if you invest a little bit more in the right places, like courses, I love taking courses and I've taken some great ones. I'll leave some of my recommendations down below. But even if you're working with a smaller budget, investing in something like Skillshare Premium, which I'll also have my link down below, that gives you 1 free month. I may be biased, but I think Skillshare is one of the best platforms if you're just starting out and on a budget, because it's very cheap. I think it's about $10 a month, and you won't get that price, I think, anywhere else for the quality and the diversity of things that you can take. Because with just a month, even either your free month or your paid month for $10, you can take so many freaking classes on so many different things that the problem will be choosing which ones you wanna learn more about. But I think there's definitely a lot to learn there, and you can always cancel your subscription if you're not finding yourself learning enough for those $10. But I highly recommend investing in the right places. Now, the last money mistake I want to talk about, I kind of regret it a lot, and it was one of the biggest investments I've made in my business, and that is investing without being sure that's what you want to do. Obviously, once again, in the beginning, you may be unsure of what you want to do, you may be unsure of the route that you want to take in with your business. So that's why I also recommended, taking something like Skillshare Premium, because if you decide to take a course, you buy Skillshare, right? You spend those $10. First, it's not a big loss if you don't end up taking any courses. But second, if you want to take a course on painting, but then you decide you want to be a freelance social media manager, you can still find that information there if you change your mind down the line. If you invest something like I did, where I invested a couple $1,000s into a coach to coach me into something that I didn't end up following, and I didn't end up going in that direction with my business. Don't get me wrong, I loved our time together, but I just didn't follow that route. So essentially it was money down the drain, and I hate saying this, I hate thinking about it, but it's true. Like, I highly recommend, if you take anything from this video, is invest wisely. Like, please spend your money, but please spend it in the right places. Think about it first. Don't think about it for as long as me. I definitely overthink things, but this one, clearly I didn't give it enough thought. So yeah. I can say this in a nice way. I mean, it's kind of cringy for me to think about it, but what can you do? That's another thing. Like, this coach that I invested in, I definitely trusted them and I trusted their expertise, so I'm not bashing them as a coach, but like, I invested essentially in a coach for becoming a coach, and I know that can be a little controversial. I actually have a client, I'll link her content down below, that does a lot of content about coaches coaching coaches. So I'll link her down below. She's so funny, you definitely want to check her out. But I ended up finding out that I'm not that interested in doing one-on-one coaching, and that I'm much more interested in doing something like courses that people can take at their own pace, and maybe in some cases compiling that with a one-on-one session, like a 1-hour session, to answer their questions or to fill in any gaps that the course may have left. But I'm not interested, not at the moment at least, in going through a whole one-on-one program with a one person. I'm much more interested in putting out video content like this on YouTube, on Skillshare, link below for my classes once again. But I'm much more interested in that way of teaching and that way of learning as well. I'm much more interested in taking courses than working one-on-one with someone. So investing in that was, I don't need to talk about it any further. It was a mistake for me, but learn from my mistakes and I'll learn from my mistakes too, hopefully. And yeah, as a recap, moral of the story, it's okay to start small, but it's also okay to charge your worth. And if clients are saying yes to you too easily, you're probably charging way too low. Number 2 is, while you can find most things for free, like videos on YouTube or tools like Canva for free, that doesn't mean you shouldn't invest in premium options. And lastly, think about your investments wisely, especially if they're big ones. Like anything above $100 or $500, please think about it carefully before you take the leap and invest in your business. Now, that's it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it and learned something from it, and don't go ahead and make the same mistakes I made. If you have any questions or any requests for future videos, leave those down below. And yeah, if you like this video, don't forget to leave me a like and subscribe down below so you don't miss out on my next one. I post every single Friday about social media and freelancing, and I'll talk to you guys next week. Bye!